Hi, and welcome back to AWS Julie. Today, we are continuing our new series covering network fundamentals in AWS, and we will continue covering network designs and talk about how the AWS Well Architected Framework can ensure we design the most optimized network but entire environment design for our business needs, our account strategy, and our goals. Please remember to share this video with anyone who may be interested. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, sub if you love it, and let's dive in. On AWS, networking is virtualized, and it is available in a number of different types and configurations, which we've been covering, and this helps us match our networking methods with our needs. So maybe you have a regional, a public or private, a mesh, or a hub and spoke network design. Well, Amazon VPC practical approaches and best practices start at this foundational level. By knowing and understanding our business, our account strategy, and our goals, we can design our Amazon VPC and implement that design on our current and future requirements. Implementing these best practices will ensure that your resources, including your servers, your data, your applications, are integrated with other AWS services and secured inside your Amazon VPC. So one of the first questions that you need to ask yourself is, what is your existing environment? And how does your network function? Workloads, as we mentioned, often exist in multiple locations and environments, which might be both publicly accessible and private. And managing networks in AWS requires connecting many different networks from many accounts to and from the internet. Your network design and configurations must consider the possibility of growth and be able to compensate for interruptions to normal operations while aligning your security requirements too. And this careful planning and management of your network design forms from the foundation of how you provide isolation and boundaries for your resources. It is critical that your network design implements routine inspection and protection mechanisms that are backed by automation. Your network design approach should focus on optimal operational capacity as well as cost optimization. An optimal network must perform with the demand for your operations at scale. And cost optimization involves understanding the associated costs based on your network design. And also, when you're establishing network connections between AWS and your existing environments or between accounts, you need to make sure that you have implemented the best tools and services for your requirements in your current design and also future requirements that might come up. Whether you use AWS Transit Gateway, AWS Private Link, AWS Direct Connect, AWS Site-to-Site VPN, or a combination of AWS services, you need to consider carefully how services interact and what dependencies there are for each. After you have established the connectivity between AWS and your existing environments, you need to make sure that you also have the appropriate visibility between your accounts. And you can do this using the AWS Transit Gateway Network Manager or VPC Reachability Analyzer. And throughout this series, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into each of these. But for now, at the foundation level, we're just still talking about our network design, our connectivity options, and things that are available for us to meet our current design, our future requirements, and to optimize the whole environment. And Amazon VPC is not your typical data center, and it should not be treated as one. This is why training is so important within your environment and your organization. You want to make sure that everyone is trained up and they're aware of the most recent releases, resources, tools that are available to keep your environment optimized. An Amazon VPC is a software-defined network. It's not a data center, and a lot of senior network engineers will tell you that designing and configuring your network is similar to building a home. If that foundation is not solid, structural problems can undermine the entire building. And the AWS Well Architected Framework helps us to understand the pros and cons of the decisions that we're going to make while we're designing and configuring our network in AWS. By using the AWS Well Architected Framework, not only do we identify architectural best practices for designing and operating reliable, secure, efficient, and cost-effective networks, but we can also identify a way to consistently measure our architectures and our network against best practices and identify areas where we can improve. The AWS Well Architected Framework has 6 pillars that you can follow and add best practices for your AWS environment, not just your network. But of course, we're talking about our network, so that is going to be the focus. And incorporating these pillars into your network design can provide an optimal, high-performing, resilient, and secure network. However, incorporating all 6 pillars into your network design might not be the best practical approach. For example, to ensure an optimal design and practical approach for your network, maybe you trade consistency, space, and durability for lower latency and high performance. The pillar of focus for you in this trade-off would be the performance efficiency pillar over the reliability pillar. But as we've been saying, the network connects all workload components in our environment, and it can have great impacts, both positive and negative, on our workload performance and the behavior of the environment. We might have workloads that are heavily dependent on network performance, like high performance computing, where network understanding is very important to increase our cluster performance. And we have to pay attention and be aware of the requirements related to our bandwidth, latency, jitter, and throughput, because all of these are going to be greater. The AWS Well Architected Framework helps us build our network for our specific requirements. It also helps highlight specific questions that we need to ask to make sure that our design optimizes our network and our Amazon VPC, but it also helps us understand how the decisions we make while we're designing and building our network can help us to manage, scale, and operate a secure and cost-effective environment. The AWS Well Architected Framework also has the AWS Well Architected Lenses, and lenses extend the guidance of the AWS Well Architected Framework to specific industry and technology domains. An extension of the AWS Well Architected Framework is the hybrid networking lens. And this is fairly new, and it's really great to see that AWS is giving more attention to networking. And this lens helps us review and improve our cloud-based architectures and better understand the business impacts of our design decisions. Hybrid networking refers to a network that spans AWS and an on-premises data center. Hybrid networking architectures are designed to integrate the on-premises data center and AWS operations to support a broad spectrum of use cases using a common set of cloud services, tools, and APIs across on-premises and cloud environments. In this lens, the focus is how to design and deploy and architect hybrid networking for workloads in the AWS cloud, using the best practices and also using those questions from the AWS Well Architected Framework to optimize our designs. And as we just said, when we are architecting, we do have to make informed trade-offs between pillars based on our business needs, our goals, and our account strategy. And AWS provides multiple core components to design these architectures for our hybrid networking. Let's dive deeper into 3 specific areas that we need to focus and optimize when we're designing our hybrid connectivity for our network. Up first, we have our data layer. And this is important because it provides a data path for network traffic between our applications that are hosted on AWS and on premises in our data center. It's important to carefully consider the connectivity options that we mentioned earlier between AWS and our on-premise data center for forwarding our network traffic. And the hybrid networking lens recommends that we use the AWS VPN, also AWS Direct Connect, and the Amazon VPC to support agility and speed to market using AWS as an extension of that data center. But we also have monitoring and configuration management, which is crucial to gain insights and improve the performance of your hybrid networking design. And AWS provides monitoring and configuration management services like CloudWatch, the Personal Health Dashboard, VPC Reachability Analyzer, which we already talked about, as well as Transit Gateway Network Manager that we spoke about earlier, Route Analyze, which is part of the Transit Gateway Net Manager, and we have AWS Config and so on. And the security of your hybrid network environment is also crucial, and this protection should span across on-premises and in AWS. It is recommended to implement security controls for traffic within AWS and that traffic flowing from the internet and also from your on-premises network to AWS. And AWS also has services and tools for this as well, like security groups, network ACLs, the AWS Network Firewall, AWS CloudTrail, Amazon Guard Duty, and so on. And again, we're going to be taking deeper dives into all of this as we go through this Network Fundamentals in AWS series. Another extension of the framework that AWS has developed is the Management and Governance Lens. And this lens provides networking and security architects additional guidance to configure your baseline and design your network, providing controlled and secured resources with cost compliance and operational transparency. And this is a critical part of your network design, but also your configuration. The goals outlined in this extension of the framework in this lens help to drive clarity into your network design and align your account strategy, including key concepts, design principles, as well as best practices. This foundation that we've been covering so far helps ensure visibility and control across our network running both in AWS and on premises. And I'm going to say this again, that cloud computing is not your typical data center. Cloud computing provides a significant shift in how technology is obtained, used, and managed. It also shifts how organizations budget and pay for those cloud services. And AWS also gives us the cost optimization pillar, and this is one of the 6 pillars of the AWS Well Architected Framework. And this covers billing for AWS services because that becomes an operational expense rather than a capital expense. However, we can also use the cloud adoption framework because this helps with our cloud adoption and migration that requires fundamental changes to our design. And the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework is in addition to the framework pillars and provides guidance and support for each part of our design to update skills, adapt existing processes, introduce new processes, and to take the maximum advantage of the available services in AWS. Now, I'm going to end this video here, but in the next video, we're going to continue optimizing our design, and we're going to cover the shared responsibility model. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope to see y'all again real soon.